and welcome. I look forward to connecting with you each and every time that I get on here and speak with you. I hope you're having a fabulous day. It's been a very busy week for me this week. I so love helping my clients and helping them achieve their health and have major aha moments. So today I had a beautiful lady that came in having migraines, a lot of migraines to do that were just regular and constant, and they were there several times a month. And so I really enjoy it when just seeing their face light up when they get to understand what's going on with their body. So I thought I'd jump on today and discuss a little bit about migraines. So I wanted to talk about migraines and if you do suffer them, the things that you could look at to try to identify the triggers, because once you can identify the triggers, you can take control and you can minimize the risk of having them, because it's no good suffering with a migraine. I've got some clients who suffer with migraines and they're weekly and it takes them 3 or 4 days to recover, and then as soon as they've recovered they have a few good days of feeling great in their life, and then they're suffering from migraines again. So it's all about being able to control the triggers that are triggering the migraines so that you don't get so many. But let's start with, what's a migraine? Do you suffer them? Do you know the difference between a migraine and a headache? So migraines generally have the head pain like the headaches do, but with the migraines you get a little bit more of the nausea. You can get nausea, you can get vomiting, you can get the tingling of the fingers, the toes, your extremities. You can also get visual changes, so you get changes in the vision. So one person that I was speaking with tends to get these wavy lines that go across their vision all the time, which really impacts on their daily life. You also might get sensitive to smells, to sounds, and to light. So some people that get migraines have to go into the darkest room they can find. Others need to be away from sounds. Smells are sometimes a little bit easier to get away from, but it's generally the light and the sounds that a lot of people have trouble with. So they're the key differentials to, I suppose, diagnose a migraine. So if you're getting regular headaches, you're not too sure if it's a migraine, chart how often you're getting them. Chart the other symptoms that are going on with it, and it will give you a key indicator on whether it's a headache or whether it is a migraine. If it is either of them, it's still good to have a look at why you're getting them. But today, let's have a look at what could be triggering your migraines. Is there something specific in your life, the things you do, the things you eat, that you could change, modify, and that could then help you decrease your risk of having them? So let's start with the first one, is emotions. Emotions can actually trigger migraines. So someone that gets quite stressed, that gets even extreme excitement, that could trigger a migraine. But particularly it's always stress, tension, those kinds of anxiety, emotions can trigger a migraine. The next thing that can trigger migraines is the physical things. So if there's a lot of neck tension, so if you get quite emotional, got a lot of stress going on, you get a lot of neck tension, the tension through here can pull on the back of the skull, and that can then tighten up all of the delicate little muscles in here, and that can then trigger some of the migraines that are going on. You can also get, if you don't sleep enough, so some of my clients find that if they're not sleeping enough, they can trigger migraines. So they're burning the candle at both ends, so you can say is they've got the stress going on, they're not sleeping very well, or they're working extra hours so that they can get their migraines being triggered because they're not getting enough sleep. Any kind of overexertion. I've got one client that when he exercises too much, it triggers his migraines. So we have to be very careful about exercise, and for him it's about keeping it into smaller amounts and keeping it that he's able to manage the migraines in his life. You also might find that there's low blood sugar, and this one leads into the next reason that could happen is with your diet. You might be not eating regularly, and so you might get ups and downs in your blood sugar levels. Hi Ara, great to see you there. Caroline, it's lovely to see you here. So you might get ups and downs in your blood sugar levels, and highs and lows, particularly low blood sugar, can actually be one of the triggers of migraines. So looking at your diet and looking at, are you eating regularly? Are you eating too much sugar at one time and it's causing resultant lows? You might also find that in your diet it could be alcohol. It could be cheese, chocolate, citrus foods, caffeine. Those foods contain an amine that can trigger some migraines in sensitive people. It might also be things like the histamine foods, so your fermented foods, like your alcohol, but also even the kombuchas. A lot of people are drinking kombucha and drinking the fermented drinks, apple cider vinegar, vinegars. All of those things have histamine, or can help trigger the histamine reaction, which might trigger your migraines. So you're trying to be healthy and you're trying to have the kombucha and the fermented foods, but is it triggering your migraine? It's good to have a think about it and really see, maybe take it out for a while and then bring it back in. But even aged meats, smoked meats, those kinds of aged meats that have been around too long, even if you have leftovers, they could trigger some of your migraines. So you've cooked the night before, you've left it in the fridge. During that process and that time, the histamines actually increase. So you might find that your leftover dinners are triggering your migraines. Also things like dehydration. So if you're not drinking enough during the day, and particularly here on the Gold Coast, we haven't had a lot of the cold winters, and we're getting into the higher temperatures at the moment. So making sure that you're drinking enough. I've got a lot of clients that have come in this week, and that's one of the questions I've asked them is how much are you drinking this week? They're all going, yeah, probably not as much as I should do. So check, how much should you be drinking? What's great for you? Hi Kim, it's great to see you on board here. Also looking at other things like hormones. So for women, hormones are very much a trigger for migraines. Women can get them at their periods, in the lead up to their periods, during the periods, or even after the periods. It's not necessarily one or the other. It could be an intermingling of them all. Also that women can get it for ovulation. When we ovulate, you can also, that hormonal surge that can happen can trigger a migraine. So looking at your hormonal cycle, is there a pattern between your migraines and the hormones? Also environment. So if you're in an environment that, today I'm outside, I thought it would be a lovely day to sit outside and do this Facebook Live. So there's a few cars and trucks going by, and some of those loud noises might trigger someone. If they were standing next to the road and that the trucks went past, that might be enough to trigger their migraines. But any kinds of loud noises, any kinds of major smells, if you walk into a department store and you've got all of the perfume counters where you can smell all the perfumes, that can trigger some people. And also bright lights, flickering screens. So the strobe kind of lighting that you can get on TV, in TV movies or in the movie cinema, that can trigger some people's migraines. I hope I've been able to give you some ways to look at what could trigger you, and because once you find out what's triggering you, you can actually take steps to deal with reducing the number of times that you're getting your migraines, or the triggers that actually get you to suffer from the migraines. But what can you do? How can you identify this? Start with recording your diet. Record what you eat every day. And when you do that, also record your activity. So when you're exercising, how you're feeling, if you're stressed, what your moods are like, what's going on with your work, if you've exercised, and then incorporate into that your hormonal cycle, if you're female. If you're male, maybe not so much. Hi Kerbs, lovely to see you there. So having a look at your hormonal cycle and how that interrelates into the migraines. You'll see a pattern. Once you start documenting this and recording what you're eating and how you're feeling every day, you can actually see a pattern that comes out. And that will then give you an idea of where to look and what triggers to take out of your life to reduce your incidence of your migraines. But if you're needing help, there's a lot of things that we can look at. So today, at the beginning, I said that I had a client come in today and she's suffering quite debilitating migraines, and they're coming quite frequently. They're definitely associated with her hormones, but there was also another trigger that she wasn't quite sure of where it was coming from. And so when I looked through her blood and we had a look at what she's eating and we looked at the big picture, it also showed that she was a little bit low in B12. There was a hormonal glitch going on, but she also had to address her B12. So nutrition is definitely something that we need to look at when we're looking at helping reduce the incidence of hormones. There's a lot of research showing that vitamins like B12 and B6 actually help to reduce the incidence of migraines, and definitely making sure that you've got good nutritional levels will help to help you out and make you feel better. Not only that, B12's great for helping with the brain chemistry. Hi Diane, great to see you there. The brain chemistry, so it helps with your moods, it helps with detoxification, it helps with energy. So B12 is very important. It's also great for nerve health, so if you get tingling, pins and needles, numbness, those kinds of things, it's a really great vitamin to have a look at to assess whether you need some or not. But let's look at, when we're looking at what we can do, look at your liver function. How is your liver functioning? Is it able to cope with the everyday strains? So that if you're reacting to smells, if you're reacting to perfumes, reacting to foods, we need to go back and have a look at how is the liver functioning and how is it dealing with this extra load of things that it has to break down. Having a look at digestion. Is there an inflammatory kind of condition going on with the digestive system? Because I do find a big link with foods and migraines in the fact that when the digestive system gets a bit inflamed from some of the foods that are being eaten, so there's a trigger with a food intolerance or a food reactivity, that then triggers some migraines. So I spoke before about the foods with the amines, but sometimes there's other foods that trigger as well. I mean, look at caffeine. That tends to be something that can be reduced or minimized by helping the liver out. Helping with hormonal balance. So like I said before, if there's a hormonal relationship to the migraines, look at balancing the hormones. Help to get the hormones back into balance again. Another person that I saw this week, she used to get migraines as a child, or as an older child, regularly, until she went on the Implanon, which is the injectable hormonal contraceptive. And since then, she hasn't had the migraines. But she never put two and two together that the migraines she used to get were actually related to her hormones. So I spoke to her about, okay, when you do come off the Implanon and you choose to have babies or come off it for any other reason, then we need to make sure that your hormone levels are balanced again so that we don't go back into triggering migraines again. But what's your stress like? If stress is one of your triggers and emotions are your triggers, then look at stress management tools. How can you, in your life, settle down the stress that's going on, or manage the stress, change the way you're reacting to it? Because we can't always change the stress, but we can change how we react to it. So there's a quote that says about attitude and how life, stress is, well, our attitude to life is, it's 10% of what happens to us and 90% of how we react to it. So it is all about that reaction. Hi May, it's great to see you. It's all about the reaction to stress. So if you can change your reaction to stress, you can minimize your incidence of migraines. But when you get stressed, we tend to tense up in our shoulders. We tend to get tight up through our occiput area here. So massage would be great to help to decrease that, and it's also a great stress reliever, massage. Osteopathic adjustments, so the osteopaths can help to align the muscles and the joints to reduce that kind of spasming that can happen there. But looking at magnesium, magnesium's the great mineral for relaxing, for muscle relaxing. It actually helps the muscles relax beautifully. So check your magnesium levels. Are your magnesium levels adequate? Are you getting enough magnesium in your diet? Are you using up too much of your magnesium with your exercise program? Those kinds of things are great to have a look at. So if you have got a migraine and it's all good and well to have a look at the triggers, but if you're going through a migraine at the moment, the things that you could do to minimize it, as a migraine sufferer, you usually feel the aura symptoms come on first. So you might get some pain in a certain area in your teeth, you might see the visual signs, you might get the stabbing behind the eyes, and nausea generally comes on first as well. So you get those kinds of symptoms. What can you do to help? There is, some people find that there is great relief from lavender and peppermint. So you can get the essential oils and rub into the temples, the back of the neck here, even along here, to help the relaxation. And the smells of that, as long as you don't react to smells, is a great way to reduce the tension and can alleviate migraines in some people with that. Feverfew is a great herb that's got a reputation to help reduce the incidence of migraines. but it's not something that you can use straight away. Sometimes it helps if you can get it in fast enough. Sometimes even magnesium can help if you can take it fast enough at the onset of a migraine. But again, it's about seeing what is it that triggers yours, because it's no good me saying, okay, go take a magnesium supplement. If your hormones are due to if your migraines are due to hormones, it's not going to really help. It's no good me saying, hey, go use the lavender if your migraines are triggered by the smells, and that's your liver going, I'm not quite coping, I'm not quite able to deal with the extra load of breaking down these chemicals that I'm inhaling. So looking at what is it that triggers you, and then that will give you an indication of how you can manage it, how you can work around treating it as far as reducing the incidence, but also the longevity of it as well. Because once we find that we deal with these, we balance the hormones, we help the liver, we look at the diet, reduce those foods in the diet, and really optimize someone's health, they can go from suffering migraines regularly, say weekly or even monthly, down to having them very rarely. And I've seen that in so many of my clients, and I really love it when they come back and go, you know what, I don't get them every week anymore. It's a pleasure to live life and to live every day. So it's just about finding what it is for you that triggers it. I hope this has been able to help you identify what some of the triggers are for you and how you can help. If you do need help looking at that, I'm definitely here to help with that. I've had a lot of work over the years in helping people with their migraines and to really helping them manage but also minimize the incidence. And like I said, it's so fabulous to have them come back and go, I feel great. I don't get scared about them coming on anymore. It's a really empowering thing to happen, that clients come in and go, oh, this feels so great. So I'm really privileged to be part of that in their journey. I hope you're having a wonderful day. Enjoy the rest of this sunshine and enjoy the springtime that we're having. Get out there, move around, breathe in some fresh air. Really enjoy this weekend. It's going to be beautiful here on the Gold Coast again, and I'm really looking forward to spending some time with my kids. I hope you have an amazing time with your family, your loved ones, and your friends. I look forward to seeing you next time. Bye for now.